Tonight our special guest is Lisa Eyre. And as Lisa says, you will find her in most fridges throughout the country. Lisa is the Lisa in Lisa's Hummus. But tonight Lisa is wearing a different hat. She is starting a brand new political party called the Awareness Party. Find out tonight the how and why it all began. Lisa Eyre, welcome to The Beat Goes On.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming into our humble studios.
I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah, because, I mean, you're all over New Zealand, aren't you? You can walk into any supermarket and you'll see Lisa there, won't you?
Well, yes, I'm told I'm in just about everybody's fridge.
Yeah.
Could be rather cold.
Now,
yes,
tell
it
us
is.
about hummus and how did it all start before we get on to the real subject, the new political party?
Okay, well, my husband and I, my Turkish husband and
Yeah,
I...
and that's the surname, isn't it? E-R.
Yeah, Eyre.
Eyre,
Yes. We actually had an interest in the restaurant called Midnight Express. And my youngest son had his third birthday there, and the children decided that they really liked hummus. So I said to my husband, well, how do you make it? And so he found the ingredients, but not a recipe. So I just messed around and made it sort of taste a little bit New Zealandy. Mm. And I think it went from there, because then I trotted it out at parties and things like that, and people loved it so much that I landed up taking it to the health food shop down the road, and it went from there, really.
Wow, did you think that was going to happen?
No, not at all. I had no business experience. I was a primary school teacher.
And how long ago was this?
1994 it started.
1994. Mm-hmm. And you watched it slowly grow, and now it's in every supermarket in New Zealand.
That's right.
Wow.
Well, it was very slow because I had no capital.
Yeah.
So I had to grow it with...
You've got to be very proud of yourself. Wow.
Mm.
And that's your pension plan, of course? It's going to keep you in luxury for the remainder of your life?
Not luxury, but definitely comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody likes to be comfortable.
That's right.
But you have other passions, don't you, of course?
Well, I do.
Yeah.
I moved from there when I sold the business. I decided that I really wanted to look into spirituality. Mm-hmm. And so that was my next passion. And from there, I realized that if I was going to be a truly compassionate person, I couldn't really ignore everything else that was going on in the world. So with a little encouragement from a few other people, I joined the Green Party, and in 2008 I was a candidate for the Green Party. And then from there I decided, well, it's very difficult to be a politician and be in integrity, because you have to take the party line. And if you don't agree with things in the party line and you're actually out there supporting them...
You're just a number, aren't you, in the party?
That's right.
And vote this way, please, or we won't let you in.
Yes, so there were certain things that I disagreed with. I mean, I'm going to qualify this, and that is, I think that the Greens are the best party in Parliament. But, so I'm not wanting to diss them at all, but I found that there were things in their policies that I couldn't agree with. And so then I walked away and thought, I think I can do this. I'll create something new. And I'm not totally attached to the outcome, but if we can build awareness about some of the things that are wrong and some of the solutions, then we've done something useful.
Hence the Awareness Party.
Exactly.
Being aware.
Yes.
Now, it's been a long journey. So just for our viewers, you're a wonderful baby boomer. That's what the show's all about.
Yes, I am.
And are we allowed to ask the date you entered this wonderful world, or is that top secret?
Well, it ought to be top secret, really. But it was exactly halfway through the century.
19... Now, when you were born, 19...
Question mark.
Question mark. There was no thought, there was no consciousness, no awareness of anything, was there? I mean, it was there was a few individuals. In 1962, Rachel Carson, and this is 12 years after you were born, so she came up with a book called The Silent Spring,
yes,
which was the first awareness that people weren't treating the earth as well as they should. And then after that, it wasn't long after that they had a thing called the Values Party in New Zealand, but there was an idea that was forming, which ultimately led to the Green Party. And if you compare the consciousness of today in 2017 to way back then, there's been huge progress, hasn't there?
We've
but
come
not
a long
enough
way.
as far as you're concerned.
No, but we have come a long way, and I do think that Indigenous people were aware of what Silent Spring was about.
But they
way
had no
back.
political power, unfortunately, did they?
No,
You
and
know, they
still
weren't making
not.
the decisions, unfortunately, were they?
No,
Yeah.
and still they don't have a lot.
Yeah.
Where, around the world.
Which means, Lisa, when was your first inkling, or at what age were you when you started to think, or you identified with these feelings that you're feeling today about the Awareness Party? What's your pathway to becoming the person that you are today?
Well, my father was a conscientious objector in the war, as was his father, because I come from a Quaker background. And so, age 10, I was out in England walking the streets with my father against nuclear testing.
Wow, what
Yeah.
a... what
So
a-
I started
yeah,
back
yeah,
then.
Yeah, so
And-
you had to hold one of the signs that said, down with nuclear energy, or down with the
I
atom
think
bomb.
I had badges all over
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
And so then from there, when we came to New Zealand, before then, I started an anti-vivisection group in my school because I didn't like what was happening to animals, and I became a vegetarian at that time. And then when we got here, I was campaigning against the Vietnam War. I had my own petition that I started. I wasn't connected with any parties or anything like that. So I've done things throughout my life.
And the government would consider you a person of interest in the sense that there's that Lisa again, always stirring things up. Would they see you? Were you a radical, or were you, or just a mild, just mildly worried about things?
I'm a radical, but I'm quite polite about how I approach
You're very
that.
polite. Yeah.
I'm not interested in being, screaming about this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And I organised a peace march last year,
Yeah.
for example, which was about peace. But unfortunately, on TV, they put me as a protester. But I was marching for peace.
Yeah. How do you see yourself?
Well, I suppose I wouldn't like to say I was a protester, but I mean, this is a democracy, so we're supposed to have a say. And so from that point of view, but I don't like the word protest. I mean, I like the word, the Awareness Party is about creating something new that makes the old system obsolete, you see. So I'm about creating something new and good. I'm not really interested in yelling at what isn't right, because there's other people that do that.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do something new. Key, I think, is
Yeah.
to be able to do politics
Yeah.
peacefully. When you're ranting and raving and protesting about everything, it's not very good energy. Whereas if you've got a peaceful energy and say, well, I'm going to do the best I can for my children and my grandchildren, and I'll do it in as respectful and peaceful way as possible, then I think I'm in integrity for myself. And other people can do it a different way, but I've got to do it right for me.
But as I was saying, getting back to that, where does that energy come from in you? I mean, the average person says, oh, I don't like that idea, but they get on with their lives. But no, you want to stand up and
Well, I'm an entrepreneur.
yeah.
And my grandfather on my mother's side was an entrepreneur.
So what you're saying is you've got a belief that you can actually change things.
I know, I'll try.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody said, well, how did you make a business with no capital? And I mean, I put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
And they say, every 1,000-mile journey starts with the first step. So if maybe I do the first few steps and then somebody else picks up the rope and says, well, okay, we'll do the next bit, and so on and so forth, that's how society can change.
What's the point of difference between the Awareness Party and the Green Party? What are the things that you think that need working on?
Well, it's tricky. We talk about the awareness of the whole integrated living system, the Gaia system.
Yep.
So, for example, we would say it's not okay to tip chemicals all over everything. The Green Party would say some are okay and some aren't. So there's a pointed difference. So we would be, for example, not happy about 1080 because that affects the land and the waterways as well as killing animals slowly, whereas it is reluctantly okay with the Greens. So we wouldn't put fluoride in the water. We'd say, people can take personal responsibility for their fluoride if they want it. because, it doesn't give people individual choice. So we've got things like that. We're very strong on complementary health. We have really basically that kind of awareness, that spiritual awareness behind what we do. Mm-hmm. And also the banking system. We're challenging the banking system. We say that it's ridiculous that the banks just get on their computers and go, here's your mortgage. They've created money out of nothing.
Out of nothing.
Awful.
Now, here's a little bit of this is a point of difference from the Green Party. They haven't been big on that type of subject, have they? But
not very much. Russell Norman got shot down when he tried to say something, but I don't think he had the backing.
Now, can I say something? I totally agree with you on this. I think this, once upon a time we had the gold standard, didn't we?
Yes.
And a piece of gold, that was worth $1,000 and there was value for it. But now it's just a click of a computer. We're going to create, say the Americans do it every week. They might create 600 million, or no, it's probably about $30 billion worth of credit for the banks.
Yes.
They just create it.
Yes.
And then they charge interest on something they just created.
So we have a debt-based economy.
Yes.
And the point is that we could have the Reserve Bank in charge of creating money for New Zealand instead of private banks. And so when, for example, they need to rebuild Christchurch, they don't have to pay interest on that money because they can create it and allow that to be used for infrastructure or for repairing damaged cities or whatever. It seems to me totally wrong that the whole world really, almost, is in the hands of the banks.
Then they say that, somebody's got to control it because it'll get out of hand. If we create too much money, then you'll have this enormous inflation. How can you, what's your policy for stopping that?
It's only if you create too much.
Yes, exactly.
So actually inflation won't happen if not too much is created.
So how do we stop people creating too much money once they get their...
Well, that would be in the hands of the Reserve Bank and the experts. Yes. So, I mean... we would say that this is the best way. Plus, a lot, cooperative banks, co-ops, this sort of thing, and local economies, so that we get away from this international mess. We've obviously got to trade overseas, definitely. We can't walk away entirely, but in a lot of areas we can.
So who do you think... they talk about in, I think it was 1913, they created the Federal Bank in America, and... supposedly it was done in a room full of smoke and cigars, and people got together and created this money-making machine. And then I think it was 73 they went off the gold standard, wasn't it? And with Nick.
Well, so, Kennedy wasn't happy about that.
Who are these people that created this Federal Reserve in America, this whole system that we operate under now?
Well,
who do you think they are?
Well, I would imagine that the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and all of those people have a great deal to do with that.
Have you done research on who you think they are? Or
not personally. I've read other people's.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely another world government quietly in the background that is going on. And I can't put my finger on it because I don't have all the information, but I have enough information to know that there is that issue.
So that's a feeling that you have, that there's another world. There's the President of the United States, and it all looks fine, and et cetera, but there is another group behind them that's pulling the strings. We're just puppets.
They're pulling the financial strings, and of course all the big corporations. So you've got Big Pharma, Big Agriculture, the industrial military machine. All of those are all about making massive amounts of money for their own and not worrying about anybody else.
Now, knowing that, what a battle you have on your hands. How can you ever change that? How can you ever go up against these people?
Well, if you look at them as like in the old days, you'd look at them as like the king, because they've got the control. If all the subjects walk away from the king has nothing to govern. So with a growing awareness of walking away as much as possible from the system, we could create something else. And New Zealand's small enough to do that.
Yeah, but the problem is, you might be able to get 50% of the people to walk away from the king, but the 50 that are going to remain with the king are those people who've got privilege. And they don't want to change the status quo. These are the wealthy people that are already doing well, thank you very much. I'm going to stick with the king, because the moment we leave the king, then it puts my life in jeopardy.
Well, I might be one of those 1%. But I'm more concerned about everything running properly than just myself.
You would endanger your own welfare in this battle?
I don't know whether it would endanger it, because we have to do this very carefully, because normally with any sort of change, financial change, it's the poor people that suffer the most.
Well, these people aren't going to let go voluntarily, are they? The 1%. The 1% of the 1% are never going to let go voluntarily. They're not going to say one day, look, we've listened to what Lisa said and a few other people. Yeah, we're going to give it all up. Yeah, let's do it tomorrow. I'll ring all my friends and say we're all giving up. We're going to lose control. This is never going to happen, is it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we don't know what's actually going to happen in the future. What's going to happen around climate change? I don't know, because basically, probably within the next 10 years, the climate is going to be extremely unstable, and just being able to get food and water is going to be quite tricky, I think, throughout the world. New Zealand, I would suspect that we're going to be a lot let off lighter than other places. But there's a lot of other things that could happen. And if the wars continue in the Middle East, how long is it till they spread elsewhere?
What do you think to yourself when you hear President Trump say it's a hoax, climate change? It's just it's a hoax by a lot of people with agendas, with self-interest, creating empires of their own.
Well, if you look at the emissions trading scheme,
that's just
that is correct, because that's about making money out of the issue.
Right.
Whereas if you just had a straight carbon tax, that's different.
But once again, it's somebody is pushing climate change so that they can make money, not because they're really caring about the planet, but they can bring in a carbon tax or an emission scheme. You always got to follow the money. Somebody's making a profit somewhere.
Well, if the government's getting some money from it, it doesn't matter so much. It's when it's privatised, which is a worry. But I think, you see, climate change, in my opinion, happens naturally.
Yes, exactly.
But I think the greenhouse gases are undoubtedly exacerbating it, and that the climate is going to get very unstable. And I think possibly that President Trump might change his mind in the future as the climate in the States is becoming more and more unstable.
Tell me your thoughts and feelings as you watched the American election and you saw President Trump become the next president of the United States. Horror or joy?
Neither.
Neither?
Neither. Because I didn't actually support Hillary Clinton either.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I supported Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, okay. You didn't want to see the first woman president this time?
No, not really, because not because of what she, well, partly because of what she did in Libya, destroyed a country. She was behind destroying a country there. And also, I think 9 out of 10 of the largest arms manufacturers were supporting her. So, you know, I mean, my aspect is peace. But you see, the same with Brexit in the UK. President Trump's election was about people saying the system isn't working, there's something wrong, we need a change. And so I feel that he's been put there because people wanted a change. I'm not sure that he's going to deliver the change that some of those people want, but that remains to be seen.
But he's going to run into those same people we're talking about, you know, that
definitely. Well, that's what President Obama ran into, and so he couldn't do all the wonderful promises that he made, and we all thought this is going to be wonderful when he was elected, but it wasn't.
Yeah. So these are the thoughts that are running through that have created today, the woman that is sitting in front of me today, and with the start of the awareness party. It's a journey, isn't it? That it's going to be a difficult journey, isn't it?
I never say that something's going to be difficult, because if I say it's going to be difficult, then it will be.
How do you stop people voting their traditional patterns, National Labour,
I can't stop
Winston,
that. They have freedom of choice.
to vote for the Awareness Party.
Awareness Party. Well, we haven't got our 500 members yet. We need to get
Yeah.
our 500 members by June, I think.
Well, what about asking our viewers, would anybody that thinks exactly like you, could they get hold of you? And
They can most definitely, but if they need to go to the website, which is theawarenessparty.com.
Yeah.
We're just updating it actually a little bit, but it's definitely there. There's a Get Involved page, there's a Contact Us page, and of course there's stuff about our policies, our thoughts. We're really a party for disaffected voters to some degree, and almost for somewhere for the anarchists to go, because in a way it's like we're a step towards that, because we're talking about personal responsibility there. So I wouldn't put that left-wing or right-wing bird on us.
you don't...
Well, you can't fly with only one wing, can you? That's why they all fail. We're the phoenix that'll rise out of the ashes.
Theawarenessparty.com.
Theawarenessparty.com.
Ooh, this is going worldwide.
We have some supporters in America, yes.
Yeah. And what would make you? I mean, the elections are about say 7 or 8 months away.
Yes.
What's your target? What do you want to achieve this time?
What I would like to achieve is our 500 members, and I would like to have. Well, we've got somebody ready to be a candidate.
Yeah.
Just to get the awareness out.
Yep.
I'm not really particularly interested in fighting an election this time.
Yeah. You're laying
I
the
want to
foundations.
lay the foundations,
Yeah.
yes. So I suspect when people find, if there is suddenly a change of government, when they find that things aren't actually all that different, then they might start looking around.
Lisa, this is what this program's all about. We say that baby boomers, society writes us all off. Past 50, you're supposed to be finished. But here you are. You're starting a brand new political party. Good on you. That's wonderful. I salute you.
Thank you so
You've
much.
got the energy to do it, and you've got the passion and your belief in it, haven't you?
I have. And my mother is 93 and lives at home on her own.
Hope she doesn't start a new political party.
No, I don't think she'll be doing that. But put it this way, I've got quite a while to go before I get to that age.
So, just before you go, that wonderful tradition you had, America was full of Quakers, weren't they? Just once again, tell me, what did the Quakers give you?
Well, the American Quakers, there's two sorts in America.
There's 2 sorts, I see.
Yes, they're the sort that are a bit like the Shakers, that are very evangelical, and I'm not part of that, having come from England anyway. There's only really one strong belief that Quakers hold, and that's that there is that of God or good in every person. So Quakers always have been quite active politically, and have done things like prison visiting, because they'll respect everybody, because it's always
And you got that from your dad, didn't you? He was a Quaker?
My dad was.
And your mum?
My father and his father and my uncles, and yes.
Wonderful tradition.
Yes.
What it must have been a great household to grow up in.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
I was at boarding school, a Quaker boarding school at some of the
But it's
time.
still working today, isn't it? Those early ideas
Yes.
that were given to you by your dad, they're still working today, aren't they? Which is wonderful.
Well, it's who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely his daughter.
Yeah. Oh, you're wonderful. Lisa, thank you for coming in today, and
Thank you.
we're going to watch with great interest. You may even be the balance of power in New Zealand.
Not this time.
Not this time.
Maybe another time.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.